In this video, we'll have a look at how duplication options can be used to create models. Now, a big part of 3D modeling is using shapes and assembling them properly in order to get a good representation of a 3D object. Now, you can think of this as using something like building blocks in order to build something. And really, in a lot of cases, 3D building blocks is exactly what we need in order to build something. Let's take, for example, a simple picket fence. So that's a really simple object, and we can build it by using some good duplication options. So I'm just going to take and create a single slat for the picket fence, and then I'm going to go over to my attribute editor, and I'm going to add one subdivision on the width. Okay, so now I could take this object and duplicate it, move it, and duplicate it, move it, duplicate it, and move it to create the picket fence, but there is an easier way of doing it. I'm going to go up to the edit menu, and then there's under duplicate, which is just Command or Control D, depending on if you're on the Mac or the PC. But there is duplicate special. If you're into hotkeys, that's just throwing in the Shift key. But a lot of times you want to use the option box on this because it's a pretty specific case. So I'm going to take this object here, and by default it will create copies of your object, however many copies you tell it. One copy, and it'll just place it exactly where it is in this case. But if I want to do more with this, I can say I want to make, first of all, instances. And instances are going to be tied to the parent, the original geometry, in their form, which you'll see in a moment why that's important in this case. Then the next thing is you can choose how to place these objects. So in this case, I want to create one duplicate, and I can see they're about 2 grid units wide. So let's say I want to skip 4 units, and then the next one will be right there. So that's going to be a total of 6 units, and that's actually -6 because you can see we're in the X direction, and the X positive, which is the way that the little axis is facing over here, is this way. I'm going to go that way with them. So I'm going to say -6 on my translate. Number of copies, let's go ahead and do 4 of them. And then just go ahead and click apply. And there we go. I've got now 4 more copies of my fence. So let's take all of these here, and I'm going to center them back into the middle of the scene. So just drag them over like that. And now if I go to edge mode and I go over, you can see as I go to these individual edges, the pre-highlighting will actually show up on the duplicates as well, because these are instances. They're not independent geometry, they're actually instance geometry. So we go here, go ahead and turn off my soft selection, which is currently on, and I'm just going to use the move tool to pull that up, and there you go. You can see I've got the start of a nice picket fence. Now you can easily break the instancing here, and really what I want to do in this case is to select all of these and make one single piece out of them. So I'll select them, go to mesh and combine, and now we're just dealing with one mesh object. So that's going to be easier for me to deal with. Now at this point it might also be a good idea to delete your history. After you started to make a bunch of different things like this, you can see I've got all my different nodes going on here in what I've been doing on my editing, pulling up the top, duplicating and all that, combining them. Now I can delete those. So I'm going to go to edit, delete by type, history, and now I just have a single unified polygonal structure which I can call fence. And there we go. So now I have my fence in there, and I could do the same thing here if I wanted to create more instances of this fence. I could easily go up to edit, duplicate special, and now I've got 6 of them by 4, so the whole length is 24. See, 6, 12, 18, 24. Yeah. So let's take this to -24, and I'll make, let's just do 3 duplicates here, and I'll just make them copies at this point, and I'll hit duplicate special. And actually, it looks like I messed up. I needed to add 6. Looks like math is not my strong point here. Let's go to duplicate special. And if you get that happening, something like that, it's really easy to correct. Just go back, undo, relaunch your tool with the option box, and you can see you'll still have the same options loaded in here. So now I can just take that, increase it to 30, hit duplicate special, and now I'm good to go. And now you can see that I've easily and very quickly, and I could do this even more quickly if you learn about this and you're doing it on your own, I made an entire property length of fence posts. So I could also do that with the initial instance and make 30 copies of them and leave the instancing on so that I could go back and edit my fence posts on the fly and make changes to all of them along the way. Now I could easily do the same thing with vertical attachments and things like that. And very quickly you can build up some nice geometry. So let's make a new scene here and look at a couple of other ways that this can be used. So I'm going to very quickly just take and create a cylinder. I'm going to look at making kind of a little sci-fi tower here because I'm a sucker for anything sci-fi. So let's go ahead and get this, and I'm going to go back to my poly cylinder. You might guess I'm going to turn off my subdivision caps so they're not in the way. And now what I want to do based off of this is create kind of a tower with some more cylinders. And I'm going to use mostly cylinders to create an entire bit of geometry here. So I'm going to start with getting another cylinder to go in the middle. And this one I'm going to adjust a little bit more. I'm going to take my radius down to 2, and I'm going to take my height up to 16. And let's see, let's go 16 sides, nothing on the cap. And then I want to center this up, and I'll actually have to center up the other one as well. So I want 0 on the X, 0 on the Y, 0 on the Z, and you can see that actually centered me in the middle of space. So what I will want to do here is move this to +8 since it was 16 high. That will give me that nicely aligned like that. So this one I'll go 0, and I do believe that this one is 1 high about, so I'm going to go 0.5 and 0. Then I'll go back down here to my shape, and I'm going to take my height, make it 1, my radius, and make it 5 just to kind of even that out. Okay, so this is the start of a nice little tower. But let's say I wanted to have several other pieces that were based off this. So I'm going to just copy and paste this cylinder here. And I'm going to go right to my scale tool, and I'm going to scale it down. And even farther. And I'm going to move it right down so it intersects the base of this post here. Okay, so now what I want to do is create versions of this that rotate all the way around. So I can easily just take them and place them all the way around, but I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to start by copying and pasting this, and then I'm going to select this pasted one, and I'm going to change my Z position to the negative of whatever it is. In this case, it's -3765, so I'll just put a negative in front, and there you go. So now I'm going to select both of those and combine them. So we've got mesh, combine, and now I have one piece. And now I can use that duplicate special command to my advantage once again. So I'm going to go edit, duplicate special, and I'm going to leave these just as copies this time. I'm going to turn off any translation, and this time I'm going to use rotate. So around the Y, I'm going to rotate each version of this 30 degrees. So let's go rotate 30, and I want to rotate this a total of 180 degrees. So I'm going to make 5 copies. So that included with this will give me a complete circle. So let's go ahead and duplicate special, and there we go. So now I've got a whole big group of these cylinders here. So again, I'm going to grab these, combine them, and I think they're a little bit too tall at this point, so I'm going to make them a little shorter, move them up right to there, and then I'm going to go again, duplicate, special, and these ones I'm going to move up vertically, so let's move them on the Y about 5, and I'll give us maybe 3 instances. Duplicate special, there we go. Now I would just want to do some other edits here, but before I go any farther, I'm just going to do the exact same duplication with this base. So edit, duplicate special, and I could just hit the tool and not even have to come in here because I'm going to use the exact same settings. So there you go. You can see that I've started to build this up really, really quickly. I could do various different sizes of these. I could also go and take things like this and combine them, and then these I'll just copy and paste and move up to the top sides, and there you can see I've got something that's a bit more of closed geometry. All right, so very quickly you can build up your geometry using that special duplication command. It's kind of the magic bullet, little hidden treasure of Maya's modeling right in here, the duplicate special command. So remember that duplicates are the building blocks of your 3D scenes. Put together the right blocks, and you can make some very interesting and well-constructed scenes very quickly.